Mediocre team and Big D. That's what makes this funny. How about them Cowboys? How about them Cowboys some way? Somehow, when they count, just wait. They will let you down. The accident, they will mess it up. Just wait. The accident, they will let you down. Just wait. The accident, the accident, the accident, waiting to happen. It will happen. Tony Romo throw the football. Know what's coming next. He will get in the way. The deception of success. Tony Romo throw the football. Are you kidding me? That's pride, not a catch. Really? That's funny. Big D, teasing you. This is what they do. The weed show up on cue. Accident, something will go wrong. The accident of the big jumbotron. Accident, gotta recognize it's a black cat running around that franchise. Say it with me. Accident, they will mess it up. Just wait. The accident, they will let you down. Just wait. The accident, the accident, the accident, waiting to happen. It will happen. How about them Cowboys?
I love that.
I love that.
It. DJ
I love that.
Steph.
Right?
I love that. I got to
do
admit
you?
it. That's kind of fly.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Do you? You love
I
that?
love
do you?
it.
I love it.
Shout out to DJ Steve Porter for doing that. Our producer, Stephanie Frenier. That was amazing.
That
I'm trying
was
to
great.
figure out why the hell
He
is
did it for
Will
you.
Kane sitting on our set,
That was for Will.
reclined in his chair like he's sitting in a grandfather chair or something. I mean, what's up with that?
I'll tell you why I'm
What's the
sitting on
problem?
this
He
set. I
coordinated
mean,
his
everybody
outfit.
knows the answer. I'm sitting on the set because you got a music video played to your hatred of the Cowboys. And by the way, while it's dripping in style, I mean, it almost made it sound like you could rhyme. While it's dripping in style, it's equally devoid of substance. I mean, the line, the punchline, the money line, the accident waiting to happen.
Will Kane, all I can say to you is this.
Yes.
I've been saying it for years.
Well,
I know what you're hoping for this year, but I have 20 years of history saying that.
Man.
So you can say what you want.
Well, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to say. I'm going to tell you, that's
Go
like
ahead.
you saying for years, Will, I've been getting up on this program and telling you the sun's going to come up. And nobody listens to me. Nobody listens to me, but the sun's going to come up in the east. And I've been saying it, and now I got a music video that proves it.
Well, the Cowboys won't
Why
come
you
up in the
hating?
East. The Giants
Why
will
you hating?
occasionally.
Why you sound jealous? You sound jealous. You sure? You all
Because,
right?
you know, when I
You
got
all right?
our show meeting notes, I noticed this. I was just going through the show meeting notes, and I noticed this. Ben Roethlisberger, out. Torn meniscus. LaShawn McCoy, injured hamstring. Eddie Lacy, out for the season. Joe Flacco, hurt. Terrell Pryor, hurt. And I just thought to myself, with all these teams, these poor teams, the Packers, the Bills, the Steelers, accidents waiting to happen, man. Accidents waiting to happen. What's your rebuttal?
You can do the remix.
No. I got it. Ben Roethlisberger's been to 3 Super Bowls. He's a 2-time Super Bowl champion.
And yet he's hurt.
Tony Romo
What an accident.
has 2 playoff victories in his career. What are you talking about?
Here's
Why
what
are you even mentioning them in the same breath?
Listen to me.
It doesn't matter
When
who's
you-
hurt now.
when
I'm
you-
talking about historically
When you predict
throughout their career.
that an accident is waiting to happen, literally anything feeds into your argument. You can pull
Unless-
anything. and
Will,
say,
unless-
I'm right. And by the way,
Unless-
every year, hold on, Max. Every year, by the way, that prediction is true for 31 teams. 31 teams every
Lord.
year
That's
prove
your
you
argument.
right. 31.
That's your You know better. You better turn to Max and leave me alone before you get your feelings hurt. You know good and damn well 31 teams in the NFL don't have the recent history that the Dallas Cowboys have had. You better stop that nonsense.
Yeah.
You better stop it.
Yeah, and,
Go
if, they,
ahead,
and if they
Max.
ever do win the Super Bowl, what is his money line going to be? You know this as well as anyone. Even a dead clock is right.
That's
for
right,
today.
Max. That's right.
Oh, that's the new version. All right.
I wouldn't say that about a Super Bowl championship. That I would not do.
Let's talk a little.
I would not say that about Super Bowl
Let's talk a little
Well, then
Tony
I will.
Romo, gentlemen. Let's get into it. Dak Prescott, he's been balling for the 5-1 Cowboys, and that has left Tony Romo in a very precarious position with the Dallas Cowboys. So many, of course, are wondering, should the Cowboys trade Romo? But which teams would be interested in the quarterback? So USA Today's For the Win ranked the teams that should trade for Romo, and topping the list is the Browns, followed by the Jets, the Bears, the 49ers, the Rams, and the Broncos. Well, I want to let you speak first, out of fairness for the Cowboys here.
Yes.
Should they trade Tony Romo?
No. Molly. They should
I like how you
start.
said my name, Molly.
They should start Tony Romo. That's what they should do, not trade
start
Tony
him.
Romo.
Oh,
Start
goodbye.
Tony Romo.
Really? Okay, sorry.
Listen, Tony Romo in 2014 played with this exact same offense, the one that Dak is playing with today. Here's his numbers in 2014. 113 passer rating, 70% completion, 34 touchdown, 9 interceptions. Dak has been amazing. Tony would be better. He'd be even better in this offense. He can read defenses, call audibles, adjust the play. He can take the top off of a defense, Stephen A. He can hit Dez down the field in a way. He can hit Dez down the field in a way that Dak cannot right now. Started to against the Packers. He gives you upside that Dak does not. Granted, there are a few mistakes, 9 interceptions in 14 along the way that Dak has made very rarely so far. But Dak is a rookie. No rookie has gone to the Super Bowl since Dan Marino. Tony gives you more upside, just as much safety. And if it all goes south, guess what? Dak Prescott's on the bench. Bring him back in. Tony Romo should be the Cowboys starting quarterback.
Tony Romo should be on the Cowboys bench. And I was with you on the starting quarterback, but this was the caveat. Look, if the Cowboys are like 5-1 by week 6 and they're in first place and Dak is balling, okay then, which I did not think was going to happen, but that's what happened. And so now people are confused about this. They have it twisted. It's like, well, you have a quarterback so you can trade Romo. Number one, from the Cowboys' point of view, it doesn't make any sense. The problem until now is they didn't have a backup quarterback. Who cares who the backup quarterback is? The fact is, you now have one, and it's a guy who has not shown the ability recently to stay on the field for a whole season. So keep him fresh, keep him ready to go. He's experienced, he's excellent when healthy, and if you need him for a couple weeks, you got him. Now, he's very, very expensive, but that money is on your books anyway. That's from the Cowboys' point of view. From everyone else's point of view, idiotic for the Browns to trade for Romo. Romo is 36 years old. In 2010, he had a broken collarbone. In 2013, he ruptured a disc in his back. In 2014, 2 fractures in his back. In 2015, he rebroke the collarbone. Later that year, he rebroke the collarbone again, same collarbone. And then in 2016, a fracture in his vertebrae. So he has a back and a collarbone, chronic issues that keep him off the field. Why would the Browns or anyone, the Jets or anyone, trade for a guy unless they're in a season where, right now, if we get this guy, we can win the Super Bowl right now? That's not any one of these teams. And if you keep him on your books, you owe him close to $50 million over the next 2 years. And if you get rid of him because he's hurt, you can't game plan with him for a season, you owe him $30 million over the next 2 years. You don't trade him from anyone's point of view. And from the Cowboys' point of view, problem solved. You have a backup quarterback. Who cares what his name is?
If you are the Jets and you believe in your defense, you might. If you are the Los Angeles Rams that's desperate to be relevant and you don't believe in Case Keenum for the next year or two, and you certainly don't believe in Jared Goff yet because you drafted him #1 overall and he wasn't even on the active roster in week 1, you do it. If you are the Denver Broncos and you're not sold on Trevor Siemian or Paxton Lynch as of yet, but you know that the requisite parts around you could easily repeat as Super Bowl champions because of that defense, because of Emmanuel Sanders and Demaryius Thomas, if you feel those things, then those are 3 teams right there that should consider making a move for Tony Romo. Less with the Broncos because of the dollars, and we understand how reluctant they were because of Brock Osweiler and beyond. But they were talking about trading for Sam Bradford. They couldn't get it done. I'm not saying that you've got the numbers to make it happen. Please don't get me wrong, because I'm conceding that the numbers could be the larger deterrent. But I'm talking about in terms of talent and need. Strictly that. Without taking the numbers into consideration, because somehow, some way, sometimes at least the numbers could work, sometimes they can't. But strictly as it pertains to talent, strictly as it pertains to situations, I think the Jets, I think the Rams, I think the Broncos could all use and benefit exponentially from the services.
Terrible ideas, all of them. The Jets have 5 losses. They're in a division with the Pats and the Bills. The way the Bills look this year, their season's over. Terrible idea to have that money on the books going forward, and none of the other teams it would make a difference for.
Can I say
the Broncos, maybe this year.
I don't believe that
we'll
the
spend the
Jets
money.
season is. I believe that the Jets season is over because I assume they're going to continue losing. But if the Jets were to win, say they had a quarterback worth having, I don't think that you could rule out the possibility of a wild card coming out of the AFC East because of the problems in the North, the problems in the South, and the problems out West. Kansas City, to me, with Oakland could be viable threats in the AFC West. But I think that's primarily who a wild card spot in the AFC East would be competing with.
You don't have to leave that as an abstraction, If the Jets had a quarterback they could compete, you're basically admitting the thing you don't want to admit, which is Tony Romo turns you into somebody who makes the playoffs, makes you a team worth competing. The name that you're leaving out is Tony Romo.
No, I'm willing to admit that, Will. See, that's why you don't pay attention.
I pay
you got
attention.
your ears clogged and you
so
don't
close.
listen. I absolutely believe that Tony Romo is capable of it. I happen to believe that playing for the Dallas Cowboys is tantamount to having a black cat running around your house. Bad luck is coming your way. I never once said that Tony Romo couldn't play. I never once said that he didn't make big plays. I never once said that he couldn't be a game changer. I'm saying it never has happened when it's really, really counted for the Dallas Cowboys. That is what I have said.
Tony Romo was on the trading blocks. Half the league would be interested in him. Who it makes sense for is a different equation. And I agree with Stephen A., by the way. The Rams and the Broncos are at the top of the list because they could theoretically compete this year with a quarterback the caliber of Tony Romo. But once again, the Dallas Cowboys, both financially, as you point out, Max, and just quality quarterback-wise, have no interest in trading Tony Romo. Now, granted, and I'm so objective, I see my lack of objectivity. I'm a fan. I'm a fan, and I want a magical ending. And I want to see this work for Tony Romo for another season and a half, and then it be Dak's job. And that's when it lines up financially, by the way, as well. 2018, after the 17 season, is when it financially begins to make sense for them to separate.
You're skipping something very conveniently, and I think this is because you're wish casting, as most fans do, if everything worked out perfectly. What about the fact that the guy has chronic injuries? They keep happening to his back, which is debilitating.
Then you have
to his collarbone. Right, but what I'm saying is on the trade block, everyone's aware that this 36-year-old quarterback, to whom a great deal of money is owed going forward, guaranteed, has these injuries, and they're chronic. And why would they make that move right now?
I'll leave it here. It depresses his value. It does not negate his value.
Yep. And one other thing you need to keep in mind, if they do switch to Tony Romo and go back, you need to know how the locker room feels because you don't want to disrupt the locker room.
Guy's been there a decade.
And that chemistry.
Guy's been there a decade.
And I would just want to know how the locker room feels and what they think.
Usual, Molly's right.
We want you guys to weigh in on Twitter. Should the Cowboys trade Tony Romo? We'll share those results a little later in the show. Well, thank you so much for being with us. Since you liked this song so much, we want to play it again for you one more time before you exit.
Thank you.
Mediocre team and Big D. That's what makes this funny. How about the Cowboys? How about the Cowboys on the way? Somehow, when they count, just wait. They will let you down. The accident, they will mess it up. Just wait. The accident, they will let you down. Just wait. The accident, the accident, the accident waiting to happen. It will happen. Tony Romo know the football, know what's coming next. He will get in the way. The deception of success. Tony Romo know the football.